Hello, this is Grace chatting, and I am the founder of Relationship Academy, where we teach lessons they didn't teach you at school. And the lesson I'd like to teach today is about being authentic. And so I think to have a really happy and fulfilling relationship, and to have easeful relationships with people that you work with, I think you do need to be authentic. So what does that mean? Well, it means that when we're growing up, we develop, if you go through that awkward teenage and puberty stage where you kind of think, does my bum look big in this? Is my hair okay? And a preoccupation with yourself and what kind of an impression you're making and what are people thinking about you. For example, now I could be thinking, is my scarf right? Are my earrings right? Have I got some hair sticking out somewhere? How am I looking? Is my voice okay? Ooh, I wonder, do they like my accent? So that would be me being preoccupied with me. And often when people meet or they're around the workplace, they have got this little dialogue going on with themselves all the time, wondering how they're coming across and how they're being perceived. So they're very me-focused. Now, to have good relationships, you actually need to be focused on the other person. And that focus on the other person means that you're present, that you are actually there, your head is not somewhere else. And so what's the benefit of being authentic? Well, when you're authentic, you have gone through a process of checking out who you are. You like yourself, you accept yourself, you've got good self-esteem, you're quite comfortable in your own skin, you think you're good enough and you're an okay person. And actually you think other people are okay too. And whatever, nobody's perfect, and we accept ourselves with our own imperfections, and we accept other people with their imperfections too. The outcome of that is that other people actually feel quite relaxed with authentic people who are able to just chill out and be who they are without trying to create an impression or be somebody that they're not. So, you might think, okay, so I do worry about whether people will like me or not, and I do worry about what people think. So how do I stop doing that? Well, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know I keep banging on about you need to get to know yourself, because we all operate in roles. And I can remember as a young woman watching soaps and hearing, this is back in the 60s and 70s when people used to go off to India to ashrams to find themselves. And, it would come up in different television programs and things. Somebody had gone off to India. I think it was a craze started by the Beatles. They all went off to India to find themselves. So I would hear this and I would think, whatever are they talking about? What nonsense, they've gone off to find themselves. Of course I was, I didn't know myself, I didn't know much. And I didn't realise at the time that, in fact, I was living my life in roles. I was somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's friend, an employee. I was in all of those roles, and my life consisted of living out roles. And of course, there were rules for all of those roles. There were rules for what made a wife a good wife, what made a mother a good mother, what were the rules for being a good friend, what were the rules for being a good employee. There are unspoken rules for all of these things, and some of them not even unspoken. You grow up with some notion of this is what you're supposed to do if you want to be a good wife. This is what you're supposed to do if you're going to be a good mother. And so I was living my whole life doing all that stuff. But of course, all the time wondering if I was getting it right. So this realization that in fact I was living out these roles, I didn't really know that until one day I was reading a book, and I was an avid reader in those days, always reading textbooks actually, a little bit strange, but there you are. And I was reading a book about Gestalt by a chap called Fritz Perls. And in this book I came across a sentence that said, you did not come into this world to meet up to anyone's expectations, and you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. Well, my eyes hit the page and I read it again. You did not come into this world to meet up to anyone's expectations, and you do not have to justify yourself to anyone. And that was a real light bulb moment for me. I realized that in fact I was living my life to meet up to everybody's expectations, and I kept justifying myself just in case they didn't, know that I was trying to meet their expectations. I was a real people pleaser, but always anxious that they wouldn't be pleased with me. So that was a real milestone for me. And I expect many of you who are watching this are doing just that. You're living out your lives trying to be a good brother, a good sister, a good husband, a good wife, a good son, a good daughter, and you live in accordance to all the rules that somebody else has set for you, and you don't know who you are, and you're not living your life. You're living this life that's being laid out for you. So what do you do about it? Well, what I did was I went into therapy, and for a few years I went into therapy, and I discovered who I was underneath all the messages and rules and expectations that had been set for me. And I learned how to be my own person, to be me, to be real, to be able to say, here I am. And it's quite a wonderful moment actually. There is such liberty and freedom and a sense of discovery when you discover your real self. And once you do that, then you are able to go and you will notice when you meet somebody else who's real. And I don't know if you've ever read the story of the Velveteen Rabbit. I would suggest that you go and Google that and get it. It's a children's story. It's a lovely little story about becoming real. And it makes such a difference in your relationships. And when you get two people who are real and who are being conscious, it makes for a wonderful, happy and fulfilling relationship. So I hope that you can start that journey for yourself too. Bye for now.